Hello everyone, it's Doris Colgate on the dock. Well, no, I'm sorry, we're not on the dock. We're up on a balcony overlooking our dock. I'm with Steve Colgate in our Dockside Chats with Steve, hashtag Dockside Chats with Steve. He's been talking about the very first transatlantic race he did when he was 19 years old, and he has arrived in San Sebastian from Cuba 4,200 miles later, a bright-eyed and bushy-tailed young 19-year-old ready to roll. So, Steve, what'd you do in San Sebastian?
Well, that's first we won. One of the nicest things about a race is if you win it, and we won it. It wasn't a big race. I mean, there was 5 boats in it, but we did have one big competitor named I forget the name of the boat, but it was owned by Mr. Hertz of Hertz Cars, and we beat him, and that was important for us because it was sort of a match racing. And so we arrived in San Sebastian, Spain. This was Enrique's hometown, and I came ashore, and after 3 weeks on a boat, rolling around, using your muscles to keep steady and so on, I found myself almost like a drunken sailor ashore. I mean, just wobbling around, and I couldn't believe it. And I said, well, geez, any red-blooded American 19-year-old would have the same, I think, thought. And that thought was, well, if I'm acting like I'm drunk, maybe if I got drunk, it would counteract all of that. Doesn't work, but I tried. So that was the first thing I found out. Then we had a interesting case where, hold on for a moment.
Got an airplane going overhead. Okay, now go ahead.
Woody Perry was our watch captain. He was a World Star Class champion, really a neat guy, very, very great sailor. And his wife, Shirley, and his daughter, Pam, came over and met us in San Sebastian. Well, Pam seemed to be fairly, effervescent, and along comes the Royal Prince, Juan Carlos, and he thinks it's a good idea if Pam and he and me and a Spanish girl went out gallivanting around the nightclubs at night in San Sebastian. So I did. Here's the future King of Spain, and I'm gallivanting around with him. And so that was an interesting part of this whole thing. And then along comes his mentor, Generalissimo Francisco Franco, who is a terrible dictator, and he invited the owner of the boat and 2 crew members of each boat, 5 boats, on his yacht, which was a big trawler, for a luncheon. And so, of course, Enrique was the owner, and he invited Woody Perry, our watch captain, and between the 2 of them, of all the people, they selected me to go along as the 3rd person. So here I am in San Sebastian Harbor on Franco's boat, and Franco's giving us a tour of his boat. And he was a little guy, and I couldn't believe he was such a cutthroat person, but he was, evidently. And he was very proud of the harpoon, a rifle or gun, harpoon gun he had on the bow of the boat. And he would go out, and his pleasure was to shoot whales. And that was his way of getting some downtime. So anyway, that was, I then decided, if this is ocean racing, or the results of ocean racing, I want to do it, I'm all in, So that's what got me started. And I then got asked by Enrique, would I like to crew with the boat up to England and sail in the Fastnet race, the 1955 Fastnet race. And I said, of course. So I'll talk about that next.